Isekai is one of the most unoriginally used genre to this day. While the potential of the genre is vast, it is mostly used as a means to escape from reality while carrying the conventional stuff from it, and deleting each and every unconventional thing from the fantasy. Mediocre shows like 賢者の孫、異世界はスマートフォンとともに、This Much から始まり異世界競争曲 etc. does this a lot. Jesus Christ. There is no language barrier. There is no world building, and there is no character development. They mostly drop a lot of exposition from the first episode so they don't have to care about it later. Hence, if anything does not make sense to you, it's probably you did not read properly where it was explained. With great detail. Even the good series like このすば、レイズゼロから始める異世界生活、盾の勇者の成り上がり is guilty of this problem. There is character development, but while the world offers so much, there's always so little shown. It's like you have been brought to this vast lands of an open world RPG, but you're not allowed to go anywhere. You're only allowed to look at the far beyond horizon, but not permission to go. I remember when I started playing Yakuza 0 for the first time, and the game started so linear. I saw this huge city around me, but all I was doing was going from mission to mission, and it felt really claustrophobic. But after the end of few mandatory missions, the world was finally open to me. And, oh boy, it was open to me. I spent so much time doing side missions and minigames. The second time I saw this dude, well, I already had all the upgrades and my legendary fighting style. I was not beating him. I was brutally flexing on him. But if I had not endured the first steps of this game, I doubt it'll be this enjoyable to kick the shit out of this guy, having goosebumps every time I see this scene. It's because I saw this world, I learned it, and I knew how it worked. I was immersed. I was not just dropped into it. I was there from the start. I was the reason this world even existed. So, why does a lot of isekai shows does this? Well, like I said at the beginning, these are unconventional stuff that will alter the progress of the story. It also comes down to why these shows even exist. In the eyes of the creator of the show, this world sucks. For most of the Japanese audience, this is a gateway, an escape route from reality, of course, without any hindrances in between. They get to live their dreams, and that's why a lot of shows use the same setting: fantasy. Have you ever wondered why the protagonist almost most of the time has to die or have some near-death experience to go to another world? Yeah, exactly. So there's no way to turn back. Which brings me to Saihate no Paladin. This story, who started off as a web novel and then turned into a manga and a light novel, and now an anime adaptation on the way, holy shit, is one of the most grounded isekai story I have ever read so far. And here are my reasons for it. This story is about a poor soul, William, who hated life, but after he died and born into this world, in his words, out of God's forgiveness, he got a second chance. Although the gods probably wanted to tease him just a little bit, jump scaring him the second he opens his eyes. William is not some hero who is bestowed upon this world to bring peace and defeat Overlord. He's just a normal dude who is in an abnormal situation and is just trying to learn. And it shows, because the first 15 chapters in this monthly series is just world building, but not bad world building. It's good world building. Do you know what the difference between good and bad world building is? Like I said in the beginning, William has no grand accomplishment waiting for him to, well, accomplish. So those chapters are kind of like getting to know each other and stuff. He learns about the world, he trains, he prays? It's basically slice of life with a bit of mystery sprinkled into it. Now here comes the juicy part. Think about this. It has Paladin in the title. William holds a sword in the artwork. This is a monthly series. For nearly 15 months, there was little to no action. Well, maybe sometimes there was, but there was no end goal. And people still read this thing. For more than a year, people read it just to know a bit more about the world and stuff going around it. I was thinking about this. If it had terrible characters, terrible dialogue, terrible world building, do you really think people would be this patient to this enormous teasing? I think not. Which also brings me to the thing, I'm afraid, because in the trailers of the adaptation, they showed quite a lot of stuff from the after chapter 15, and I am scared that people are going to be confused and they're gonna fix this problem by tons of flashbacks and exposition. Hope not, but it seems that way. Now, since we're talking about the world building, our main character reincarnated to this world as a baby but is secluded from the world. So his story starts as an outsider, like the reader. These people around him are not his parents, but despite how they look, at the end you get hooked at them. They are not just some filler characters, let me tell you that, whom you won't remember after our character eventually leaves them for adventure. They are the starting fire of this story. The characters are not explained by William to you like some B-class romance novel. You learn about their character just by watching them and see how they are interacting with William. It starts with Gus, teaching Will about the world so you know he is wise and probably a magician looking at his beard. But later at the chapter, you learned that he believes that any inconvenience can be solved with money. So aside from magic, he also teaches him how to gamble. The next character we see is Blood. I know, quite the original name. The guy who has a red hair and buffy look called Blood. The first time we see him is when he scares the shit out of William, asking him about how his hunt went. Combining his build with his curiosity about Will's hunt, we can already assume he is the person who teaches him combat. Plus, from this tiny conversation we learn that he sends Will to hunt for him to get used to taking life when it's necessary for his survival. Interesting. I wonder why. And lastly, we have Mary. While all the characters we mentioned so far was on screen when we have learned about them, we get to know Mary before seeing her. While he is hunting, William gets scared what would Mary think when she sees him with bruises. So even before her screen time, we can already assume she's the motherly figure. She teaches Will about divine beings and how to pray Jesus. I know, shockers. The person who is a nun and called Mary teaches about religion. But, and this is a huge but, she is not your run-of-the-mill nun who just happened to be a nun because of reasons. When you see how diligent she is and the saint-like aura about her, you're convinced that this person has done nothing but good and I want to protect her with my life. This tree creates William's family. They teach him about the Outlands and how the world works, while also preparing him for the things to come. Let me be frank with you, I hate reading long-ass dialogues, especially when the dialogues basically cover 75% of the panel I'm trying to read. That is why I find reading Western comics and Chinese manhwas difficult, because most of the time they fill panels with hundreds of bubbles and exposition. Which brings the question, if I can't see jack shit, what's the point of reading an illustrated book? I genuinely don't know. But Saihate's dialogue is a bit different. It's written in a way that you would rather find in a novel than on a manga. Well, I guess since it's a web novel, it makes sense. It's long, but it won't tire you. In his melancholic world, the words coming out of Will's mind also shapes the atmosphere. You learn as you go. The information given is just about right. It's not overwhelming or underwhelming. You don't have to have a technical jargon.txt open in the background to type every tiny thing you read as you go because the author wanted to go ham on the linguistics. God freaking dang it. Every time I'm reading a sci-fi or a fantasy, they have to have this technical jargon bullshit because they want to look smart. I mean, you kind of technically destroyed that the second you destroyed the whole everybody talks Japanese for some reason. Don't you think so too, huh? Now why you put this thing back in? Please, stop it. Get some help. And the art always accompanies the words. Yeah. Even the villain looks beautiful in this series. You can literally simp anyone, and I doubt anyone will judge it.
Are you a madman?
Look at the silhouette. Have you ever seen silhouette hair this good? They should put this on shampoo ads. This manga is the first time I saw a village that actually makes sense and not some castle with walls around. Like seriously, how many times you gotta do it until it starts to bother you? Is this the only shape you can think of? You're telling me in none of these worlds there is no seismic activities that will ruin this nearly flat ground? Even in Minecraft we have more variety, and that planet is a cube. But I digress. The art is beautiful most of the time. But I'm gonna be honest, it sometimes gives this digital tablet vibes rather than pen and paper. So you might see some rough edges here and there, but most of the time, it looks solid. Although, compared to the light novel's drawings, well, I mean... it kind of falls flat, but... well, when is that not the case with these types of adaptations, am I right? Well, I know. I want to see that kind of stuff too, but budget and stuff. You know, since it's black and white, sometimes it's really easy to get lost in the panels, but it was not the case with this one. The way the pacing is put together in the pages are quite nice. I did not felt lost like I would in some mangas where seeing from the empty side is understood very, very poorly. Just because there's an empty space for it doesn't mean you have to fill it. I mean, look, I think something's going on here, right? Do you guys remember the opening cutscene from the Breath of the Wild? It literally screams adventure. It gave me childlike excitement first time I was playing this. When I was reading this manga, I had seen a similar scene as well. I mean, look at this. It's nothing, right? It looks like nothing. But once you read this, we were going to get it. After all the complicated things that he had to go through, when you see this scenery with Will, you'll know what it means. It's adventure if you didn't get it. And freedom as well. Anyways, you don't even need music to feel, you know? It's awesome by itself. Although, I'm quite curious how they're gonna pull this off in the anime. Some violin, some piano would do the trick, I guess. You know what? Let's see. No. Look, I know this was supposed to be a review and all I did was not that. But this is a good series that needs attention, and I just wanted to put it out there because I love this manga. Though I'm talking like this series is the best thing out there is probably some people who might not enjoy this. It might not be their cup of tea. But to people who it might be their cup of tea, I suggest you read until the first few chapters. I would strongly recommend to read until like chapter 15, but you know, that's a commitment, and these days not a lot of people like that. But let me tell you, if you make it that far, you're not gonna be disappointed if you catch my drift. Yeah, it's good. You probably realize that I'm pushing you to read this, but also not giving you a lot of information. To clarify that, it's because I don't want to give people something to read, only to ruin it by reading it for them and spoiling the heck out of it. I mean, it kind of makes sense, right? I don't want to do movie trailer stuff. You should experience it yourself, not listen it from me. I'm telling you, it's good. Oh, by the way, there's no romance in this manga series as of now. I know everybody looks beautiful. I know you want their figures so you can bump their head each other saying you're shipping them till one of the figures' head pops off. But this series is not about that, so be advised, people who are in search for that. It seems there's some of it being hinted at the light novel, but it's not major at the moment and not even addressed in the manga series. So, no icha icha here, just adventure and growth. There are other works who is out there, and maybe I'm thinking of something along the way. So wait for that for now. In this vast world that has been presented to us, maybe sometimes we need to relax and slow down a little. Not everything has to be fast and their ultimate form right from the start. I believe the progress is as enjoyable as the result. And what makes result as enjoyable is the hardships that we have faced along the way. So, we can just watch as William takes his time and opens the world for us, as he discovers his new life and beliefs, page by page, learning and giving us new horizons.